have to
Blog
do this
Talk
a little bit
Radio.
differently. For some reason, my mic's not working. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Women of Golf Show. I apologize. I'm having some problem this morning, but anyways, welcome to the Women of Golf Show this April 14th, 2015. And again, I apologize. I'm having a little bit of a technical issue here this morning, but hopefully you'll bear with us. We have a great show for you this morning, but before I start, of course, your host, and joining alongside me this morning is co-host Legends Tour player, LPGA professional Cindy Miller. Good morning.
Good morning, Ted. How you doing?
Well, as I said, I could be doing better. My microphone's not working, so I'm going to kind of use a backup. But other than that, everything's pretty good. Little drizzly down here in Florida. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're okay. You're coming in and out a little bit, but I guess we're just going to have to go with it. It's kind of like what happens when you lose your swing in the middle of a round.
Exactly. So again, I apologize to the listeners. Not looking forward to having to do it this way, but we'll make the best of it. Very special show this morning, as I mentioned. I got a great couple of guests joining us in just a little bit. It's going to be Renee Skidmore. She's a Metro. She was also on the Big Break a little while ago, I think a couple of years ago now. And she's going to be joining us here in a few minutes. And then a little bit later on, we're going to be joined by the president of Yoga for Golfers, Katherine Roberts, who's been all over the media, golf for several years, and ESPN and many other great networks. And we're going to be looking forward to her on the show here a little bit later in the broadcast. But Cindy, just watching a great tournament this weekend, Masters tournament, and I wanted to talk for the first few minutes a little bit about what was your thoughts of the weekend.
I am so impressed with Jordan Spieth. Holy cow, how good is that kid?
Yeah, unbelievable. And I wanted to particularly, congratulations obviously to Jordan Spieth for really a phenomenal tournament this week. He went on to lead the tournament for all 4 rounds, right from day one. He hit 36 after day 2, and then just went on to close it out on Sunday. And I made a few notes on Cindy on Saturday, which is really notoriously moving for many of the players. Obviously, Friday we decided who the cut was going to be, and then Saturday for a lot of players. And he played a couple of bogeys along the way, but mostly pars and birdies. Really held it together. What impressed you most about him?
Well, I wasn't able to watch Saturday because I was teaching a boot camp in Florida, but I can tell you that the last hole I witnessed the playback, And I got to tell you that he went into protect mode when he made double on 17.
Yeah.
And 18, when he hit it to the right on a second shot, I believe that this is perfect proof that you have to fail before you win. He bailed out on 18 on a second shot, and right at that point when he walked up to the green, he went from protect back into pursuit mode of, I have got to do this. Stop protecting your lead. And that getting it up and down on 18 on Saturday was the turning point of the whole tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree. I watched all of Saturday, and I watched most of the on Sunday, and then the finale, probably the last 45 minutes on Sunday. I had a little bit of an interruption there, but I watched all of Saturday's with you. And just to mention some of the things, right from hole one, I mean, he came out, he was 14 under par, his third round on Saturday, and right away he of course he pars hole number one, which is not an easy feat. A lot of heads and struggles on hole number one, but then he comes back, bounces back to a kind of test downhill on number two to make birdie to go up 15 under. And if you look at most of his round on Saturday, he sort of jumped back and forth. He'd be at minus 15 for hole number 3, and then hole 4 and 5 he dropped down to 14 under par, and then right back on number 6 he birdied again to get back to 15 under par. And I'll be honest, when he bogeyed number 4, it was the first hole he bogeyed on Saturday, which dropped him down to back on 14 under. He had a phenomenal round, but he 3-putted on number 4, which gave him that a par 3, and very difficult par 3, of course. But what was interesting, Cindy, was, as you said, he just really regrouped very quickly. It didn't seem to falter him very much, and within a hole or two, he was right back and steady as he goes for the rest of the round.
You're really breaking up a lot, Ted. So I hate to say this, but don't talk too much, because it's really hard to hear you, really hard. I'm not sure if the listeners are having a hard time, but I can barely hear a full sentence. But I agree with you. I'm so impressed with this young man. I think he's the total package. Our daughter Kelly has had the opportunity to interview him on the Golf Channel. She said he really is as grounded as he appears. I think he's awesome. I think he's great for the game. And I'm very, very impressed, and I congratulate him. And you know what, I must tell you that he taught me a couple lessons this week. He taught me that you really have to want a goal, and you really have to have the guts to go for it. I mean, he is so on a mission to be the number one player in the world, and he's so driven to do whatever he needs to do to get to that place. And I truly believe he's going to get there. So God bless him and his parents. They've done a great job raising this kid, and I only wish him the best. I think it's awesome. Yeah,
and I think he's going to have a very bright future. I mean, they recap a lot of, his history. I mean, since the age of 14, of course, he was looking to get into the Masters, and it was his dream to win the Masters, and here he is, 7 years later, and accomplishing that.
Exactly. What did you think about Tiger and his bone that popped out?
I watched that shot, and I got to tell you, I even grimaced a little bit when I saw that. I mean, when you looked at the lie of the land, if you will, it didn't look like it was that difficult of a shot. It was just, it was in the pine straw, but apparently there was root underneath, and he hit it full bore, and I didn't realize later on that a bone actually popped out. He was certainly in a lot of pain, and I got to give him credit for some serious long-term damage.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is, I don't think bones tend to pop out, but maybe a tendon or something, and he popped that back in. It might have been the wrong use of words, but I'm sure it really looked like it hurt a lot, and I'm proud of him for finishing because I was afraid he was going to withdraw.
Yeah.
And I certainly hope he's doing okay.
Yeah, and that's what I was really alluding to as well, Cindy. Is I thought that he was going to have to withdraw. I mean, he really grimaced there when it first happened, and you could tell for several holes beyond. In fact, his next drive, you could see that he let go of the club very quickly with his right hand, and you could tell that he was in a lot of pain. But then again, you go back to the 2008 U.S. Open, and he was hobbling around there with a bad knee. Tiger just seems to push through the pain, and I don't know if I'd want to do that, but I guess that's why he's Tiger Woods.
Yeah, and you know what? That comes to, the whole story of golf is failing your way to success.
Yeah.
It really, really is. You have to be aware that you're going to mess up, and it's how you deal with all the trials and tribulations of playing this game that really creates the champion. And how many times has Jordan Spieth blown it? So,
yeah.
The same thing with Rory. When Rory blew the Masters a few years ago, he came back and won the U.S. Open. And when interviewed by Bob Costas, he was asked, did you learn anything? And he goes, yeah, I learned a lot of things about myself and my game. And I put them into play. And at the end of the conversation, Bob Costas said, do you want to share what you've learned? And he said no, which is fine. I don't blame him, it's but his own, but you have to learn your lessons by failing, and you fail forward if you choose to.
Yeah. And that, Jordan has been so close. Last year, of course, he was runner-up in the Masters. He was all in the PGA, I think, came close. And even if I'm not mistaken, not too far off, I believe it was either the British Open, I'm not sure it was the British or the U.S. Open, but right there, Hunt, for the last several years. And I think he's going to be, and I know they say this all the time on different programs that, he's going to be the next big thing. But I really think Jordan is going to be a force to be reckoned with here in the upcoming years. He just, the thing that I noticed about him, Cindy, particularly on Sunday, I got onto the hole number 18, and he had a couple of testy putts there. I'm thinking nerves did get to him a little bit at that point, but he was, very strong throughout the whole tournament. He never seemed to look like his nerves got the better of him. Do you agree?
Absolutely. He kept his composure. Right. He may have been dying inside, but boy, did he really appear to be bulletproof. And I think his lessons previously of blowing it really helped him get through that last round. Yeah,
exactly. Well, Cindy, certainly an exciting Masters, and I enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite Masters of recent years. I've obviously enjoyed them all, but I really enjoyed this one. It was nice to see somebody just really take charge. And there were some notables, certainly Phil Mickelson, Rory. Phil was really about the only one, I think, that kind of made a semi-decent charge. And then, of course, Justin Rose that he partnered with on Sunday, I'm referring to Spieth. He and Rose were partnered on the final round on Sunday, but really Phil and Justin were about the only ones that really made a deep charge, I think, throughout the round, or throughout the tournament, rather.
Yep, Justin Rose, I was impressed with him. He really stuck to his guns as well. He just needed to make a few more putts.
Yeah, and that would be his Achilles. His putting just seemed to be there for him. And one other person I want to quickly mention, then we need to bring Renee on, is Trey Hoffman, who he played in the third round with. Made some great plays as well, but just again, his putter didn't seem to be holding true throughout the tournament, and he faltered a little bit. Not so much on Saturday. On Sunday, he got back down a few times, but nevertheless, Charlie played a great round, and I'm sure this year he's learned from this one.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, enough of the Masters. Congratulations again to Jordan Spieth on a win, well deserved and well played. We got another young lady who is going to be joining us here this morning. Renee Skidmore. She is a member of the Symetra Tour and currently resides in Jupiter, Florida, as many top golfers do. And her home courses are the Everett Golf and Country Club in Everett, Washington. in the Fox Club, Palm City, Florida. Graduated from the University of Idaho, and she was in semifinalist in the Big Break in Florida. Won a number of tournaments through both high school and into her collegiate years. Had two sons in 2011, 2012, and unlike many of her fellow competitors in Big Break Florida who knew from an early age that they wanted to play professional golf, the thought really did cross her mind, Renee's mind, until her first tournament at the University of Idaho as a freshman. So she was thinking back, hey, I just won, and she won that tournament. And if she can keep this up for the next 4 years, maybe she just might have a shot as a professional. And so that's really somebody that started a little bit later than others. And with that, we're gonna talk to Renee Skidmore.
Good morning, Renee.
Good morning.
Hi.
Renee.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Not too bad. Thank you very much, Renee, for joining us here on the Women's Cup. And let me just first off apologize. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty with my microphone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Cindy and let Cindy start things off here, and I'll try to jump in if I can. But Cindy, if you want to go ahead and start us off.
Renee, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really thrilled that you took the time to spend some time with us today. Let me ask you a question. I hear that you were injured last year. What happened?
I was. It's kind of an interesting story. I was actually in a golf cart accident a couple years ago, and I had whiplash. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I was out playing with some friends, and I was sitting in the passenger seat, and the guy from behind, they were playing the back tees, drove. He was looking down at his cell phone in full speed, just goes right into the back of the golf cart, and my head just went, bobblehead style back and forth. And I had whiplash, so I had to sit out for a while, and then this past spring, had a lot going on. I went back home, was probably doing too much, and I ended up re-injuring myself, and the whiplash injury flared up again. So it was my neck that I hurt, so I ended up taking a medical for the 2014 season from Symetra, and had to spend the summer at home in Seattle, where I'm from, rehabbing it, getting it better. But it's been good so far. I haven't had any flare-ups, but yeah, it was a neck injury, but it's feeling much better now. Yeah.
You never know, do you?
No, It's kind of a freak thing, and you wouldn't think that it would be able to happen in a golf cart, but it definitely did.
So, well, I'm going to be more careful because I tend to drive that golf cart like I'm at NASCAR, so I better be careful where I'm driving and when I'm texting. So are you going to play full-time this year?
Yeah, that's what my plan is. I played in my first event just a few weeks ago that we had in Lake Wales, and then I'm here in Fort Myers this week for our next event. So that's the plan.
I'm so jealous. I wanted to play at Fort Myers. There's only 30 Legends Tour professionals allowed to play, and I didn't get a sponsor exemption, so I'm sad. I'm in Buffalo.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I wish I was there with you. Tell all my buddies I said hello.
I will, absolutely.
So let me ask you a question. Do you, and this, I might be setting you up, and I don't mean to, but who's your favorite veteran from the LPGA?
That's funny that you asked that, because I was just asked that just in casual conversation about a month ago, and the first person that popped into my head was Nancy Lopez. And she's here this week, so I'm super stoked about that. Yeah, Nancy
Have you
Lopez
ever met her?
Pick for sure.
Have you ever met her?
I've never met her, no.
Well, when you meet her, you tell her that Cindy Miller says you're a nice person.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's really a good kid. She's really good. Who else? Do you know any of the other players that'll be there?
I don't know. I don't have a list or anything, but I mean, obviously it's an extremely accomplished field, and it's just an honor to be playing with them in the same tournament this week. So I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, but I know they're big ones.
Yeah,
so.
I think Patty Sheehan, Julie Inkster, Joanne Carner, Pat Bradley, Jan Stevenson, lots of really, really good players. It should be great.
Okay.
I'm going to change the subject. How'd you like doing the big break?
I was so nervous. I just have to be honest about that. I don't think I've ever been so nervous before for something in my entire life. And I feel like I've played in a fair amount of competitive golf tournaments, but it was extremely nerve-wracking, but the experience itself was just unbelievable. Like, they treated us so well. The facility it was at Omni Amelia Island, it was absolutely beautiful. But just the level of nerves, like, people say it, and I'd heard about it before I went on to the show, and I'm like, oh, come on, you play competitive golf forever. It can't be that much worse, but it's just on a completely different level. But the overall experience was awesome, and then just watching how they edit everything and watching it on TV was just so, so cool, and it was an amazing opportunity. I'm fortunate for it.
I happened to have been on the first women's big break way 10 years ago. I was on big break 3 with Barbie Doll and Pam, and I was fortunate enough to finish third. And I totally agree with you. It was the best 2 weeks of my life, other than, of course, getting married and having children. But I had so much fun, and I have never been so scared in my life. And the thing that bothers me, I tend to be a bit of a control freak. And not being able to, they would say, okay, sit here for 45 minutes and practice drivers, wedges, and putting. We are not going to tell you what you're doing. And you're like, really? Come on.
Yeah.
And I didn't like being in jail and not knowing what's going on, but I had the most fun ever in my life.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I can totally relate to you. Like, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I don't like ambiguity and not knowing what was going to go on. So I remember just asking people questions like, what are we doing? We can't tell you, Renee. We can't tell you, Renee. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I just want to know. But, yeah, such a cool experience.
It was really super.
Let me jump in here real quick. We're on the subject of big breaks since you both were in it. And Renee, we'll let you have the first option. What do you think you took away from that experience? What was the main thing that you really took away from it? And then I'd like to chime in as well.
I mean, this is as cliche as it is to sound. I just feel like I learned so much about myself. I learned, obviously, about my golf game, and I feel like I learned how to handle myself better in pressure situations, like just coming off of the show and then just playing in, like, small games with my friends at the golf course where I practiced that. I noticed that I wasn't as nervous over putts, like small things like that I noticed. But, yeah, like, I just feel like I learned a lot about myself, how I handle myself. What else did I take away? I feel like those are the biggest things. It's hard for me to say, too, just because I feel like I haven't played a whole lot of competitive rounds since the show. Like, I played in the Big Break Invitational in the fall in September, and then just a few weeks ago I played in my second tournament. So I haven't played a whole lot, but I find myself not as nervous as I was before in certain situations out on the golf course when I'm competing. So if anything, that should be very helpful for the future, I think.
Yeah. Cindy, what about you?
You know what I learned? I have these two modes of pursue and protect, and when my little gerbil tells me, look out, be careful, and all I could hear when I was going, my son happened to be at Ohio State on the men's golf team when I went to do this, and he did not want me to be on the big break. So all I thought about was, don't embarrass Jamie, Here he is sitting there with the golf team guys, and then I would shift states and say, you know what, none of that matters. You have to focus on the task at hand. So I think I zeroed in on my process more, which helped me produce better shots. Mm-hmm. So, it's like trying to play with a gun pointed at your head with clenched butt cheeks, and you're the one that's got your finger on the trigger, and you get to choose whether or not you kill yourself. So you've got two options. You can either choke your guts out or hyper-focus on what you're doing and produce a shot. And to me, that was totally invaluable, and I'm so grateful for the experience.
Renee, let me just follow up. I mentioned in the intro that unlike many players out on the golf tours, you weren't somebody that really gravitated to golf early on. It was a little bit later in your start that golf sort of became an interest to you. Explain a little bit about that, how that came about.
Okay. Well, I mean, I started playing in tournaments when I was 10 and, played in all of the amateur events that you play in as a kid. And, I mean, I would grow up watching golf on TV, both men and women. But just at a younger age, it honestly didn't really interest me for some reason. Like, I mean, obviously I enjoyed the sport and I had fun and I loved the process of getting better and practicing and all of that. But it really didn't cross my mind at all until I was in college, not until after my first college tournament. So I would have been 18, and I played well, and I ended up winning the event. And after that, I was like, hey, you just won. Maybe you should maybe think about it or consider playing professionally at the end of your college career. But I was like, oh, maybe I do have a chance at this if I can keep on improving and keep up this streak. So, yeah, I was definitely, I guess, a late bloomer in that respect with the thoughts of turning professional.
Let me ask you a question about Mike Adams. I happen to be a friend of Mike's, and I've been to a bunch of his seminars with the BioSwing Dynamics.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Mike, and he's brilliant. How has he helped you in your game?
I feel like he has been the biggest influence, I mean, definitely for my professional career. I started working with him when I was 14. He would fly out to Washington and do junior golf camps. And then we reconnected when I was working in Colorado, my junior year of college. He invited me down to Florida, and I started working with him. So I guess I've been working with him for like 6 years. And how he's influenced my golf game the most, I mean, I feel like he really taught me how to play. He taught me golf course strategy. I didn't really think about when I was younger where I should tee the ball up between the tee markers. If it's a dog leg left, I didn't really think to tee it up on the right side to try to straighten the hole out more, like where to hit to on certain parts of the green. He made me think more like a professional, like think about all the factors that you need to before stepping up to a shot. Just things I didn't think about before he brought to light. And I'd say the biggest influence was he's made my golf swing more consistent, and he completely transformed my wedge game. He likes to say that I was an F wedge player and that he brought me up to, C to B or whatnot, but he's funny like that. He's somebody that's not afraid to tell you the truth, and I like that, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a good one.
Renee, the other thing I wanted to ask you is you are sort of acting competitively. Renee, I mean, obviously you're playing this week in the tournament with Legends now. What do you see as you move forward to 2015? What have you got?
Sorry, my phone just cut out a little bit. What did you say?
As you back now from having an injury such you did, what are you looking forward to 2015?
What am I looking forward to for 2015?
Yes.
I honestly, just a few weeks ago was my first event back. I just was so happy to be back out there, and I don't think I realized at the time, just coming off the injury obviously was very disappointing, and it was tough mentally, just because I wanted to be out there, but I couldn't because of my neck. So just taking the time off and having so much time to reflect on my golf game and just everything, it was really good. And I guess I'm just looking forward to being out here and just going through the grind and going through the process and working towards getting my card. I'm just happy to be back competing, honestly.
What's the best part of your game, Renee?
I'd say my wedge play and my putting. And if I had to choose between the two, my wedge play.
And what's your biggest struggle?
Well, that's, I think.
What's that? My biggest struggle is probably my approach shots in, like 150 to like 180. I feel like I need to hit some more greens, so that's one of my goals for this season is trying to hit more greens in regulation more often.
So you typically hit a lot of fairways?
I hit a lot of fairways, yeah. Like I hit it straight, but for some reason my nemesis has been hitting approach shots. So that's something I'd like to tackle and get better on this season.
And do you have a golf club contract with anyone?
I don't have a contract with any golf clubs per se, but Adele Golf, they've been helping me out with wedges for the past 2 years. They make putters also.
Do you have an Adele putter?
I do have an Adele putter, yes. I love it. I kind of go back and forth using it. Sometimes I need a different look, but I love the Adele putter. I love the look of all of them. They feel great coming off the face and all that good stuff. But I love their wedges. I've had them in my bag for almost 4 years, I think. So.
Oh wow. Okay, that's cool. And let me ask you, do you use the round grip with the Adele putter?
I do, yeah. I never took the grip off. I have the original grip on from when I got the putter in 2011.
Wow. I took it off, and I have one as well. Yeah, and then I put it back on. David said, "What are you doing?" And I said, well, it felt funny, so I tried to change and tweak it, and now I've surrendered, and I've got the circle grip back on.
Okay. Do you use the Adele putter right now then, too?
I do. I do it.
Nice.
I do all the time. Well, and here's what happened. I went to the PGA show, and maybe our listeners don't know what Adele putters are. I happened to be at a training for the LPGA in Massachusetts a few years ago with Jane Frost, who's a top 100 teacher, and David Edel and Mark Sweeney from Aim Point were there. And I said, please use me as a guinea pig because I have such issues lining up. And I had an Odyssey putter, and from 10 feet away, I was like 15 inches off the target.
Oh, my goodness.
I was terrible. I was like, holy cow, no wonder I can't make a putt. And he went over to his magic trick bag, and he made a putter, and he put it in my hands, and I set up, and the laser was right in the middle of the target. And I go, what did you just do to me? It was so unbelievable. And I was like, you're messing with me. Give me my putter back. And I took my putter back, and I did it again, and I was still way off. And I took his putter, and I was right on the target. I go, what did you do? And he goes, I can't tell you.
That's amazing.
Oh, it was unbelievable. So, needless to say, I'm like, all right, fine. How much is it? Make me a putter. I've got the adjustable lie and the adjustable weights and all that stuff. Do you have the same thing?
I do have the same thing, yeah. I have a counterbalance in the grip, so the little weight up at the top. And then I can't remember the numbers that I have, that are on the sole. But it's nice because they're interchangeable or whatnot. But it's like the half mallet.
So is mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I don't have a line. Do you have a line?
I have 2 lines, yeah.
Okay. See, I'm non-linear, so I can't have lines. But anyway, I know we're going on, and nobody really cares about this, but it's very interesting. And you guys should look up Edel, E-D-E-L, David Edel. He is like a master wizard at lining you up and fitting you for a putter. They're very expensive, but you'll never have another putter. So I'm married to a guy who played on tour for 15 years, and we've got about 50 putters in the basement, so I don't need any more.
Well, Renee, I want to take this opportunity. We unfortunately we're out of time, but and again, I apologize for my microphone not working efficiently today, but it sounds like you had some great conversation with Cindy Miller, and Cindy's the best anyway. So, but Renee, we want to thank you, and we want to wish you much continued success, not only in the future on the Symetra Tour, and obviously you're working towards the LPGA, but good luck this week, and go and say hello to some of the true legends of the game, such as Nancy Lopez, and if we're many of the other ladies that are in this game for a long time, I've learned something.
I will, for sure. Thank you guys so much for having me on. It was good to talk to you both.
You too, honey. Have a great day.
Thank you. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, thanks, Renee.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Again, it was Renee Skidmore. She was just back on the cement tour after a neck injury last year and able to another event before this. She's there down at Myers at the Coast event, any of the great legends of the game. And we've got really, in my opinion, a legend in the golf business. Kat Roberts is going to be joining us here in just a second. But let me tell everybody a little bit about that. And again, I apologize. I'm working too well today, so we're probably coming in and out. So defer to you to carry the load this week. But yeah.
Ted, let me introduce her because nobody can hear any words you're saying.
Okay, go
ahead. Is that okay? Is Katherine on already?
Yep.
Okay, Katherine. Katherine is Katherine Roberts is the founder and president of Yoga for Golfers. She happens to be a Nike Swoosh elite athlete and an advisory staff certified NG360, which I'm not sure what that is. We'll have to find out. Nike's golf conditioning program and the Gray Institute fellow, applied functional science and chain reaction biomechanics. That sounds interesting, too. Anyway, a little more about Katherine. For more than Katherine has been a leader and an innovator in the world of golf fitness. Her unique and highly effective approach to golf conditioning is a fusion of Western biomechanical science and Eastern mind-body conditioning that increases performance for serious sports athletes and golf enthusiasts of all levels. Katherine's work has been profiled by USA Today, the New York and LA Times, the National Post, Golf Magazine, Golf Week, US Airways Magazine, Asian Golf Monthly. As a Golf Magazine fitness panel expert and a regular contributor to the Golf Channel, she has appeared on The Turn, The Big Break, Your Game Night, How Low Can You Go, and Game On. Her golf fitness series, Swing Fault Solutions, continues to air on the Golf Channel's international markets. She is the producer of 9 DVDs and author of groundbreaking book, Yoga for Golfers, McGraw-Hill. Her second book, Swing Flaws and Fitness Fixes, was co-authored with top 100 golf instructor Hank Haney. I'm going to say, you know what she's doing now, though? This is pretty cool, because she's working with the Major League Baseball for more than a decade, serving as the yoga fitness expert for MLB teams, including the LA Dodgers, San Diego Padres, Oakland A's, and most recently the Chicago Cubs. Katherine, thank you for being on the Women of Golf. Good morning.
Oh, thank you for having me, Cindy. It's great to be here.
Wow. That's a lot of stuff.
I know, when you read the bio, I feel like I need to lay down and take a nap.
I do too, but let me ask you, can you help my butt be stronger so I can hit it farther?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I need to buy one of your books or your DVDs. We just done with boot camp, and I'm trying to stay still. I bought one of the Body Track mats and found out that I am trying to shift my weight way too much, and because I'm trying to hit it farther, and really what I'm trying to do is wrong.
Right. Well, excuse me, it's interesting, here we are on a women's golf show, and, one of the consistent things that I see, not only myself, I'm a golfer, I just wanted to say I've been playing golf my whole life, that we see that's kind of consistent across the board with women is that a lot of women are what we call hypermobile. They're actually too flexible, and one of their biggest challenges is how do they harness power. And, what you're just describing is something that I see every day with female golfers.
Well, I'm guilty. So what do we have to do to not do that?
Well, I think there's a number of things. Certainly, when people think about yoga, let's just step back for a minute. When people think about yoga, they think, oh, yoga's really good because I need to be more flexible. Well, a comprehensive yoga program and what we do with Yoga for Golfers is we not only work on the kind of obvious, which is flexibility, but we work on, equally as important, is what we call stability or integration of muscles, integration of joints. And through that process, we can cultivate more strength. So again, for a lot of women, what they have a tendency to do is they'll have a tendency to lose posture, or they over-rotate, or they're not really able to access their lower body, thus, use the force of gravity and ground reaction forces to generate more power. This is something that's kind of across the board for golfers in general, but for women, I see that as a kind of a consistent theme that we're always working to help cultivate. So, doing the yoga poses that help generate more stability and strength in the body is absolutely critical, not just for the golf swing, but also for, kind of functional daily movement. So that's a big part of our programming.
So let me ask you a question. Do you have a DVD series for someone like me who happens to be, I'm 59 years old. There's going to be a Women's Senior U.S. Open in 3 years. So God willing, if I'm still around and I can walk, I have a goal that I want to not only compete but be in the top 10 of that. So what would you tell me that I would need to do if I've got poor core strength and hypermobility?
Well, let me back up for a second. We actually just today launched 3 new DVD series, which is I call it PAR level 1, 2, and 3. It starts with level 1, which is the mobility and stability portion. Then it moves on to more intricate sequencing that adds more strength and balance. And then the final DVD goes into how to generate power. For you specifically, you would, I think that, that process from the physical standpoint is certainly something that you would want to do because, you're talking about competition. And competition requires a number of things. I'll touch on it first, which is the physical standpoint, which let's just talk about endurance. So, and everyone can relate to this, whether you're playing in competition or not, that, around the 12th, 13th, 14th hole, your body starts to get a little bit tired, not just in your back, but in your lower body. So these programs that we have, again, specifically this new DVD series, builds upon the flexibility to help give you more strength, specifically lower body and core strength, which you talked about. I'll go back to that in a second. The other piece that's going to be very important for you, Cindy, is the mental aspect. And one of the things that really separates the Yoga for Golfers program from, let's say, being in the gym and doing wood chops sitting on a stability ball, which, by the way, is not a bad thing. I do believe in cross-training, is that we very, very much focus on mindset, on breathing, on committing to a shot, on being fully present. There's a term that was it's part of the ancient practice of yoga, and it's called one-pointed concentration. And so through the process of Yoga for Golfers, we teach our students how to cultivate that ability to move inward and have one-pointed concentration. So, in a 4.5-hour round of golf, you're really only playing 14 minutes of golf. So
right.
How do you hone in your mind and your body and your breathing when you're standing over that shot? You can't be that laser focused for 4.5 hours. You would pass out when you got to the car to drive home. You'd be so exhausted, right? But learning this process of focus and breathing and all of that is something that we teach, and not just for the golf course, but it's also for life. I mean, everyone can relate to that, especially people that are, hardcore multitaskers, which I can relate to very much.
Are you busting me right now?
No, I'm not busting you. I'm relating to you.
Okay. Thank you. But you know what? That's what we're talking about, being able to shift states and being aware of when it's important to be present. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, there's a thing that we refer to, which is, environmental forces. So there's the psychological, the physical, and the environmental forces. And the environmental forces are things that we can't control. Again, this ties into golf, but also life. So let's say you go out to play in competition and the play is slow, or all of a sudden the weather changes, or all of a sudden something happens to, your shoe, or whatever it might be, or something that you weren't expecting, or you're playing with a partner that's annoying. How do you withdraw? This is another one of the philosophies of yoga, is withdrawing from the external forces, withdrawing and internalizing the senses. So being able to do that, the best and most effective way that you can do that is to work with your breathing. So your breath is the way that you can instantly reset your mind. But most people don't really know how to breathe. I mean, I'll ask you, Cindy. I don't know if Ted's still on the call, but I'll ask you, when do you breathe in your golf swing? When do you breathe in the round? Are you aware? What is your process?
Well, I try to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth with the diaphragm. Mm-hmm. And it's funny that you mentioned this because I went to get golf psych certified, and John and Deborah used the mind meter, and my numbers were so high. That of my tension level, and he said, "You are so active. I want you to take a breath and exhale the breath right before you swing, and as soon as it's just about 3/4 exhaled, I want you to start the club back."
Right.
Because I try so hard, and it's like, you've got to take a chill pill, Cindy. You're crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's the two things I wanted to say about the breathing. First of all, the breath should really be in and out through the nose and not out through the mouth. And the reason that is because there's something called the receptors, so you have two nervous systems, let's say. I'm going to make this very simple. There's kind of two nervous systems. There's your sympathetic nervous system, which is what sends you into fight or flight, which is what causes tension in the body and in the mind. Tension in the body makes it almost impossible to execute an effective, efficient, repeatable golf swing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Right. So that is the sympathetic nervous system. We want to keep the sympathetic nervous system calm when it's our choice to keep it calm. The parasympathetic nervous system is the calming nervous system. And the receptors for that parasympathetic nervous system sit in the very deep lobes of your lungs, which is why it's important to take a deep diaphragmatic extending breath in and out through the nose versus, out through the mouth. So this is the type of breathing that our clients practice on a daily basis doing yoga for golfers. With that awareness of their breathing, practicing yoga for golfers, they can immediately apply it onto the golf course. Now, in terms of the pre-shot routine, I just did a golf school. I teach a lot with Tim Mahoney. I know you guys are probably familiar with Tim, and Tim is the director of instruction for Troon Golf. And just yesterday we did a golf school together, and we had, 15 students. And I was teaching them breathing. And what I teach is you set your address, and then you take a long, slow inhalation through the nose, a long cleansing exhalation through the nose, and then you begin your takeaway. Now, just that process creates awareness of the breathing patterns. Once you have that, then what I cue my clients to do is begin an inhalation on the takeaway, and then you will automatically exhale on the downswing. So golf is a game of speed, right? So we want to create what we call maximum velocity at impact. The analogy that I use is, have you guys ever watched tennis?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So a tennis player, the reason they grunt at impact to the ball is they are creating two things. One is a deep, full exhalation, and also maximum muscular contraction at the point of impact. That's how you generate power. It's like lifting weights. When you want to lift a weight, you don't inhale on exertion of the weight, you exhale, right?
Right.
So that's what we're teaching through breath and golf.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, that's awesome. And I am absolutely positive it will help.
Yeah, it helps everyone. It was really interesting, and I would say that of the golf school we did yesterday, one of the big takeaways from the students was this tip on breathing. So now kind of come back to you, Cindy, with this competition piece, is that the other thing that breathing does in this deep diaphragmatic breathing in and out through the nose is it helps you manage mindset and it helps you manage energy. So when we're feeling tired, our posture has a tendency to get more relaxed. We get into more flexion. We're leaning forward. Listen, I can watch a golfer, because this is what I've been doing for 17 years, is I watch golfers, and I'm a golfer. And I know when a golfer's hit a bad shot, because when they walk from the bad shot to the next shot, their head is down, they're looking at the ground, and their body is flexed forward. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Right. When the body is flexed forward, you can't take as deep a breath as when you're standing upright and your eyes are on the horizon. So managing that mindset and managing energy and keeping energy and blood flow and oxygenating of the blood has to happen with upright posture. And that starts with, that happens with the breath.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Ted, how about you? What do you do?
I try to do it as what you're suggesting, and I know sometimes I'm probably guilty as well of not breathing solely through my nose. I know sometimes I'll exhale through my mouth, and I know that's not proper. And it depends. If I'm in a situation where it's a more stressful situation, then I get out of rhythm. What are some things that you can do if you get midstream in a round of golf, whether it be a tournament or just with your friends, and you feel yourself getting out of rhythm? What can you do? What are some techniques that you can do, Katherine, based on what you're teaching, that help us to get back in sync?
Well, there's two things that come to mind. Instantly, the first thing is, again, coming back to the breath. So taking an inhalation where you inhale for a count of 4 and you exhale for a count of 4. Just take an inhale for 4, exhale for 4. Maybe if you do that 4 or 5 times, that can help, again, reset the mind, reset the body. The other thing that I like to do is that when I'm walking between shots, I make sure that I bring my eyes up to the horizon, because let's face it, it's beautiful. What's more beautiful than, when you're when you're out on the golf course and it's kind of it's a beautiful environment, is I bring my eyes up to the horizon and I take in the scenery and I focus on my feet striking the ground. So I focus on my heel through my toe, left foot, heel through my toe, right foot. Inhale, exhale. And so it creates a rhythmic type of scenario for the body, for the breath. It brings the nervous system back into check. And those two things with the breath and walking, I think are probably the two greatest things that you could do. And then, the other piece is the internal dialogue. Our internal dialogue is extremely powerful, and what we say to ourselves is what we create. Now, everyone knows that scenario. I'm going to hit it over water. Oh, I'm not good over water. I'm not good over water. Next thing you hear is kaplunk, right? I'll share some of my own experience. I had a problem with the yips in my chipping for about 6 months, and it was really scary. And I would stand over a chip, and this is what I would say to myself: this is not going to be good.
Yeah.
And I would say, because honestly, I didn't know if it was going to go 3 inches or 30 yards. And I would say, this is not going to be good. Well, guess what? It wasn't good.
Right.
And then I took a couple lessons and I talked to some people about it. And Hank Haney and I are very good friends. And as I said, I teach a lot with Tim Mahoney and Doug Hammer up at True North. I mean, I have the privilege of working with some of the best teachers in the world, and so I went to them all, and they all gave me great advice. But the main thing for me, I think, was to change my mindset instead of saying this isn't going to be good to I can do this. And it's just like in life, right? So what we focus on, if you wake up in the morning and you think, oh, this is going to be bad. Or another thing people say all the time that I find very interesting is they say, well, my luck.
Yeah, that's true.
So, they're putting it out there. And recently someone said to me, well, well, that's just my luck. And I said, well, that's a really interesting thing to say. I never say that. I always think the best will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, and again, the thing that I love so much about golf is that it's certainly a metaphor for life, and it teaches us all, it teaches us so many lessons. It gives us the opportunity to explore different things, in our mindset, how we act on the course, how we treat others, our inner dialogue, and it translates into life. It's one of the, and it's kind of just like yoga. I mean, I can never learn everything. In golf, I can never learn everything. It's the journey. I'm never going to fully arrive. I don't care if I became scratch. I would still not fully arrive.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question. How do we get a hold of these new 3 DVD series?
Okay. So the website is yoga4, F-O-R, golfers.com, yogaforgolfers.com. The new DVDs are up. Pretty exciting. Again, it goes through the process of level 1, 2, and 3. The other thing is we have something on our website that I would love all of your listeners to do. This is completely free. It's complimentary, and it's called the Golfer's Profile. And what it does is it asks you about 12 or 15 different questions, everything from challenges and successes on the golf course to lifestyle and fitness. Based on your answers, there's 26 different possible combinations of solutions that we will send you. So what you'll receive are 10 what we call training tips. They're 90-second video tips that, based on your answers, will kind of help you get started in a Yoga for Golfers program. And if you go to the website in the upper right-hand corner, it says YFG Golfer's Profile. And especially for someone that's new, they don't know where to start. Maybe they've never done yoga. It's a great resource. I'm really excited about it. And I would love everyone to just go take the Golfer's Profile and get started. Today's a great day to start.
I will do that. Thank you so much.
And what about the clinics and some of the workshops as well? If they're interested in participating in any of those, same thing, go to the website. They can get information on that from there?
Yes. And also, we have certified teachers in 20 countries. And if you go to the website, you can go under, it will say YFG instructor. It will either say find one or become one. We have teacher training certifications going on all the time. People can become certified online. But if they're looking for private instruction or something that's happening right in their neighborhood, they can just put in their zip code and find a teacher that's near them. And that's how we can give people kind of that one-on-one experience. Plus, I am always available to work with clients over Skype. I have clients all over the world. I work with swing coaches. I work with clients over Skype. So if someone's looking for, again, more of a one-on-one experience with me, I'm available to do individual coaching as well, and they can get to me through the website.
Katherine,
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Wow, this has really been an eye-opener. I'm so grateful you were able to spend time with us this morning.
Oh, well, I really appreciate both of you. Thank you so much for having me. And again, for the listeners, if there's anything I can do to help coach them, I'm here.
Perfect.
YogaForGolfers.com. Thank you.
Thanks,
thank
Cindy.
you.
Thanks, Ted.
Yeah, thank you, Katherine. Have a great day.
Take care. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, Cindy, I'm going to keep it brief since I'm breaking up here and that, but we want to thank our special guests today, Renee Skidmore and Katherine Roberts, for joining us on the Women of Golf. And thank you, Cindy, for shouldering the load today. I actually learned a lot by keeping my mouth closed and listening more today, so thank you for helping me do that. And thank you always, Cindy, for being a great co-host of the program. thank you for joining us. If you're interested in listening to the broadcast, if you missed us live, go to blogtalkradio.com/Women of Golf, and you can listen to the recorded version at this point. Join us next week, Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time at the Women of Golf show. Thank you on behalf of Cindy Miller and myself. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you here next week. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you.
All right.